The most common misconception of LARP is that LARPers only play medieval fantasy padded sword games.
And you're whacking someone in the woods with it.
That is a valid form of LARPing.
But there's a lot more LARPs than just that.
Hello everyone, we're gonna play Crow Funeral. It's the perfect weather for it.
LARP is an acronym for live action roleplay.
So rather than Dungeons & Dragons at a table, it's real people, real bodies on the line to tell a story together.
Improv is often done for an audience, whereas LARP is something that's done to tell a particular story or get across a particular feeling just for the group. So it's not for an audience, it's for the people who are doing it.
A play with your own choice over where your character goes.
Mostly, it's a bunch of grown-ups running around playing pretend.
A quick couple safety things before we start. We are going to be using a cut if there's some sort of issue that we have to deal with, whether it be emotional or physical safety.
LARP House is a community organization that offers free or low-cost live-action role-playing games to the Twin Cities.
Basically, it started as a group of friends wanting to run LARPs for each other and get more people excited about playing LARPs. So the faces and who's there have shifted over time until now, where it's like a larger thing where people I didn't know originally are now big parts of this group. Another one we'll be using is break. Break is sort of the this is like kind of where I want to be. I don't want it to get more intense than this. One of our big focuses is how can we be respectful and make sure everyone's having a good time, whether that's based on like asking about people's gender pronouns or thinking about different social justice issues that we want to bring in LARP or reflect. And that's another big piece of our identity. So a fellow crow has died.
Oh no!
Today we're playing The Crow Funeral by Tim Hutchings.
It is a game about, well, we're a bunch of crows.
Coming together to figure out how their friend died.
Together they must solve this mystery, but mostly it's about crows being stupid together and the experience of people talking over one another.
It's not very complicated, but I think there's a lot of complicated ideas that are going on. On your marks, get set, crow home. Crow home.
I like being able to put myself in the experience of someone else and get different perspectives on life and situations.
What I love most about live action roleplay is it is so physical. I really enjoy games where you can use your physical body to express emotion.
I like pretending to be other people. I like creating stories. It is escapism, it's fantasy. You get to pretend that you're dealing with someone else's problems, and that can be a lot of fun.
Gather! There's been a murder!
Murder! Murder! Murder! Murder!
Murder!
I've played a lot of different kinds of LARPs. I've played science fiction, I've played dramatic realism, like empathy games about serious issues like dementia or laws or refugees. Of course, a number of like comedy, fantastical, over-the-top, like spoof LARPs. And those three are totally fun and not what people expect in LARP.
Trees are bad.
Trees and fences
Trees are bad. And fences are bad.
Killed by tree?
Killed by tree?
Killed by tree! Trees are bad!
Trees are okay.
What about flowers?
Trees are bad.
Flowers good.
I like flowers too.
I like flowers.
Food kill?
No food here.
No food.
Food good.
Food very good.
Starve.
The LARP community here in the Twin Cities is fun. It's really queer. It has an awful lot of people with a lot of diversity of genders, identities, orientations, expressions.
I think one thing that's common to folks who do LARP is that wanting to explore and like experiment and find out what someone else's life is like.
They tend to be people who have played many different roles, both in their real lives and in their fictional lives.
You had a Venn diagram of theater kids and the nerds who played Dungeons & Dragons in their parents' basement growing up. You would get LARPers kind of in the middle and also like scattered around outside.
Stupid crow ate too much.
Agree.
Agree.
Disagree. Agree.
Stupid crow ate too much.
Some crows eat too much. Crows?
Crow died alone.
Agree.
Agree! Agree!
Once we play the game, then at the end we have a debrief. We talk about how things went, how we felt about things, different feelings that came up during the course of the game. What informed the arguments of the crows? Will they actually be safer for what they learned at the funeral?
I feel like the crows aren't any safer. I feel like I was in the last couple with Taylor, and the crows made, I think, stupid decisions that are not gonna benefit them at all. But it was fun, like story-wise.
The debrief in this was to talk about how people had played the game and what they experienced from it.
Did anyone drop their token to remain with the murder, and what did this represent?
Giving up my treasured belief in the power of fences to save us all.
Yeah, sometimes you have to give up some of your personal beliefs if you want to stay with the bigger group.
Yeah. In like books and movies and different things, you can really feel immersed, but I think there's something about acting it out yourself that is different. It makes it for a different sense of immersion. That's all for today. I guess Kathy was suggesting some D-roll, so we can all say, like, I'm Tom, I was a crow, and now I'm Tom again.
I was a crow, and now I am Pip with a crow puppet.
Some bleed there, Pip.
A little bit. I mean,
Careful.
I love this puppet so much.
One thing I enjoy about role-playing is taking a big empathy dive into some other person's lived experience and trying it on to the best of my ability in that moment, and afterwards reflecting about how I can't understand their lived experience, but I can really empathize with it through the experience of play.
Honestly, this group is the greatest group of people I've ever had the pleasure of hanging out with. I'm so grateful that I found them. They're just so inclusive and all about other people, and they're great.
Can we give gratitude for this really excellent crow?
Yes.
Yes.